Okay, thank you. All right, so let's say a few words about the events of the week, this past week, and the world transits. And clearly, what's happened in Japan, this kind of this triplicity of really titanic catastrophe, where you've got the earthquake, and such an enormous earthquake, then you've got such an enormous tsunami, and then you have a nuclear crisis. I mean, it's just kind of hard to imagine a more profound crisis than that combination. And those crises so much reflect the T-square that we've got here. You've got the Saturn, Pluto, Uranus. You can see now Uranus has come into Aries. They're all in the cardinal signs here. And Jupiter's still in the picture, just 11 degrees away. One hopes there'll be some of that experience of the sudden, unexpected, happy release from a dangerous situation that is still something that the world dearly, and Japan dearly needs, even as bad as the crisis has been. We know it could be much worse. And of course, the same situation is in the case of North Africa and the Middle East, where the situation in Libya and in Bahrain is on the social political level has that comparable quality of just absolute life and death kind of crisis for so many people. Just to unpack it, I think you all have that at this point already, but to unpack it, of course, what's driving the intensity of the volcanic intensity is Pluto. The sudden, unexpected awakening of volcanically destructive energies, that's Uranus, Pluto. And then when you bring in Saturn, it has often the quality of the collapse of structures, the negative unexpected, the negative trickster, but with this titanic mass volcanic intensity that is related to Pluto. If we were to look at, just last night the Times, or just yesterday, the Times had a very moving but highly factual article on the front page of what's happening in Japan, just as a summation. It's something that the New York Times can be very good at doing when they're at their best as the national newspaper of record. What the Times' best writers can do is to summarize a situation with a combination of a kind of dispassionate overview that at the same time has a moral compass to it, and a compassionate or an empathic sensibility, while maintaining the journalistic objectivity in a positive way. So the title of this is by Ken Belson, and the title of the article was "Certainties of Modern Life Upended in Japan," which perfectly describes, the sense of having certainty, the sense of having a reliable foundational structure, your status quo that you're operating in, a kind of stable existential space that contains you and holds you and gives you a sense of being secure. That's the positive Saturn. We rely on it all the time in a mostly unconscious way. We're walking on this floor right now, and we're not expecting it to suddenly collapse out from under us. We're not expecting the sky to suddenly open up and a very large being pluck us out and so forth. There's all sorts of things that we're taking for granted, and that's the Saturnian principle in its positive form. You know, we often think of the negative Saturn, but the positive Saturn, you can think of the negative Saturn in the perinatal process as the birth contraction and the expulsion from the garden, and the loss, and the fall. All that's there. All that's Saturn. But Saturn is also the container of the womb. That gives us safety, security, a boundary, a certitude, a sense of consistency, expectation that allows our creative adventure to unfold in a not completely chaotic form. It's the positive matrix of our lives. So all that's contained in this, you know, the certainties of modern life upended in Japan. Those of you who, I think I'd probably mention it in this course, but especially in the lectures where I've given like an overview of the state of the world transits, like in this fall, the Friday night public programs lecture on that subject. I'll use the sentence that summarizes the T-square as, which is this overall period from 2008 to 2011, with another year on each side. Really, 2007 is when it first starts coming in, and 2012 is the last time that you get Saturn and Uranus coming into wide orb. So really, it's certainly a 5-year period that we're deep into. We're really in the second half now. And if I were to summarize that using technical, non-archetypal language, but just the kind of everyday English, I would describe it as being a state of marked by volcanically intense evolutionary pressures for the impelling the radical reconfiguration of all life structures. So volcanically intense evolutionary pressures impelling the radical reconfiguration of all life structures, and you can see this on every level of our personal lives, of our global life, of our ecological, and economic, social, political, etc. Now here, I'll just read these opening paragraphs of this article, and you can get a sense for the full impact of the T-square, keeping in mind that Pluto also has that quality of it's the volcanically intense energies coming from the depths of the Earth. It's also where the intensity is so strong, there can be an element of agony, of wounding, of going all the way in. It was written in Tokyo yesterday. Japan, a country lulled by the reassuring rhythm of order and predictability, has been jolted by earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear crisis into an unsettling new reality, lack of control. Okay. It just captured so much in there. And often, you remember Stan Grof, who built his whole psychology about this experience, and who's born with this T-square right in his birth chart, and whose whole perinatal understanding emerged during the mid-60s when Saturn opposed Uranus and Pluto, and where so many people had that experience of basically an earthquake of consciousness that completely, that were producing ego-death experiences, destabilization of reality. There's something happening here, and you don't know what it is, Mr. Jones. That kind of Dylan's song from that period, and the sense of things being out of control. In a nation where you can set your watch by a train's arrival, Saturn, really classic Saturn image, and a conductor apologizes for even a 1-minute delay, rolling blackouts have forced commuters to leave early so they will not be stranded when the trains stop running. Some stores have been stripped bare of essentials like rice and milk, leading the Prime Minister to publicly call for calm. All the while, aftershocks, small and large, rattle windows and fray nerves. While workers struggle to avert nuclear meltdowns at stricken power plants 170 miles to the north, residents of Tokyo are wondering whether to trust the government's assurances that they are out of harm's way. The string of disasters has revived the notion, dormant since Tokyo rose from the firebomb devastation of World War II, that this city is living on borrowed time. Many people are staying inside to avoid radiation that the wind might blow in their direction. Others are weighing whether to leave. But most Japanese are trying to uphold the ethic that they are taught from childhood, to do their best, persevere, and suppress their own feelings for the sake of the group. It's a very Saturnian culture. Individualism is completely it's totally the opposite of the American cult of individualism. I remember Robert Bellow once saying in his critique of America,